It's going to give me nightmares.
I'm sorry.
Was there a reason why you specifically wanted to rant at me about that?
Because
Or was this like
a
the
little bit.
cephalopod beak all over again?
No, a little bit of it just pop up. So one of the podcasts I listen to, YouTubers I listen to, is making a video about the strongest person from each clan in Naruto, and I'm like, I know a fuckload about these guys. I want to get that out of my head. Because that's how my brain works. I feel like this is probably a terrible time to proposition you after just telling you about all of the flesh-eating bugs.
I feel like that's a separate thought.
Yes, it is a separate thought.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
It is a separate thought. But it was right, I meant to proposition you tonight. Which, the connecting thought. Well, that was the connecting thought between the two things. And just, all right, it's probably a terrible time to proposition you because...
Happy birthday.
Mr. President. I, for one, welcome our new ant overlords. Hey, circles back.
What's up, Deviants? Welcome back to the Naughty Corner. I am Courtney Watts. This is Court is in Session, and we are on the unceded territory of the Wonnarua people. Court is in Session is a Reddit Reads podcast where game recognizes game. We judge assholes because we admit we've been one. We offer advice in shitty situations because we've been there. And we offer Aussie-specific cultural takes because you wouldn't understand what the fuck we were talking about if we didn't. Tonight's co-host is Ben, and we are here for his birthday episode.
Woo!
We're both ADHD. Don't ask us to tell you how old he's meant to turn.
34. I'm good with numbers.
Yes, but not tracking a calendar.
No, obviously not. Because I only just refound my calendar like 3 days ago.
We have a bunch of Ben stories. I have trawled Reddit and any other places that pop up for Ben-specific stories or just stories that contain a Ben, throwaway accounts named Ben, etc. Just trying to find as many different Ben tales as possible.
We are in everything. Also, as soon as you said Ben tails, all that went through my head was, Bens don't have tails. They have big, big bottoms. They wear with bad shorts. They walk around all day going, hi, Helen. God, the ADHD is strong in me.
As is the love for Robin Williams. Going to have a couple of mishmashes here. Random stuff from random places.
Like me.
And then we're going to get into a whole heap of sick cunts and shit cunts mashed up with pick your poison. Which is really just kind of like shit cunts and sick cunts if you had veto power. The first one comes to us from r/power scaling. Now, to this day, I still don't know what that means. I have not looked further into this subreddit. I don't know what it's about.
Ooh, pick me. Power scaling is a thing that happens in the comic and anime community where basically they say, hey, Goku can beat Superman because of this, this, and this. And the other side will come back and say, hey, Superman can beat Goku because he's fucking Superman. And they're wrong. Goku beats Superman.
I actually did a reel about that. But it was explaining to a guy who got into a fight with his toddler daughter for saying that Sailor Moon would beat Goku, and she fucking would, and I stand by that.
She would have back in the day with the extent...
She's not 14 anymore.
No, it's not even that. It's the extent that Dragon Ball Super has upscaled Goku. He is now considered a multiversal threat, which is about on par with Sailor Moon. So I'm just saying it's not as easy a fight as it once was. I'd say they'd probably come about even.
If you say so.
Now, the real question is, what would it be like if Sailor Moon and Gohan hooked up?
What's the rule for that?
Rule 34.
Are you sure you're just not remembering your age?
No.
Or is that just a coincidence?
Rule 34 is, if it exists, there is porn of it. Rule 35 of it is, if porn does not exist, it shall be made.
And just like that, 30 seconds after this podcast episode was uploaded, if it didn't exist, it does now. This power scaling post, see if you can guess who it's talking about. Ben would lose a lot more of his matchups if you guys took into account how he acts.
Ben 10.
And we have a picture, 2 different versions of Ben, 2 different presentations he's got. One is a little red gremlin. Ben against one of the most feared conquerors in the galaxy. Another, it's like looks straight up like Darth Vader, hey? Like Ben against 8 plumbers. 4 of them are his friends.
Okay, so these are 2 different aliens that Ben can become. The plumbers are the agency that Ben 10 ends up joining. It's also it's like for people that are DC fans, it's like the Green Lantern Corps, or for people that are Marvel fans, it's like the Nova Corps before they all died. But the one you're saying looks like Darth Vader is Alien X, which is the strongest alien that Ben has access to. The problem is, it's 3 voices inside of a head, and they all have to agree on doing a thing, otherwise it'll never be done.
I understand.
Yeah. Except that goes so far as to take a step, to fly.
Yep.
And it's a constant, no, they do not agree.
Yep.
I believe he uses Alien X between the 4 shows 3 times.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that what this meme is showing is that he will completely take the piss by looking like Gollum for the sake of taking on an incredibly high threat that will basically take down his friends like he's a dad destroying his toddler daughter with a heap of draw 4s in a game of Uno.
More or less. Also, the thing you're saying is Golem. His name's Jury Rig. I did have to look that up. Looks more like an imp. But yes, I'm pretty sure it is meant to be a Ben 10 uses the weak form to fight his enemies, but the strong form to take on his friends. Mind you, his friends are stronger than his enemies for the most part, and most of the time he's fighting his enemies, he doesn't have control over his watch. Fuck, this is going to be a nerdy episode.
Comment actually came from a deleted user. Well, power scalers rarely take personality into account. Now, given that is very valid, it's also a perfectly reasonable thing to say. So I'm wondering just how unreasonable that user can get that they've deleted their entire fucking account.
Could also be a lot of people delete their Reddit accounts because a lot of Reddit is toxic as fuck and they just don't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah, but if that's the case, if you're just floating around on nerdy subreddits like this, like, I also started a Reddit account like 10 fucking years ago. I just forgot about it.
Yep, but people that are commonly going on to things like power scaling, which power scaling is like the Kardashians of the nerd world. It's the thing that's going to destroy it and make
It's a guilty pleasure.
It's a really toxic part of it.
Oh, I suppose it kind of is just the nerdy adult version of my dad could beat up your dad.
Yeah, except nobody really knows what it could be. Because, like, when you're a kid, when you're a teenager at the very least, you can kind of tell if your dad be able to beat up somebody else's dad.
No, yeah, it's actually more like the adult version of religious wars of my giant, powerful, fake imaginary friend could beat up your giant, fake imaginary friend.
Legitimately, and some people treat
then
it
that's
as serious.
caused wars.
And some people treat it as seriously as well.
Yeah.
There's also entire branches of YouTube and other websites that are dedicated to it. Personally, my favorite is Nick Connor. Check him out. He's NCHammer.
NC?
Yeah, that's his name.
Right.
Nick Connor Hammer. Actually, I think it's just Nick Connor, and he thought it sounded better as NCHammer.
Following up with an Am I Overreacting? Am I overreacting for feeling like the third wheel with my partner and his dog?
Woof. This is a bad week for third parties.
We won't be elaborating.
Unfortunately.
Looking for some honest feedback on whether or not I'm being ridiculous.
Yes, you are.
I've, 28 female, been officially dating a guy, 29 male, for about 2 months. We have a ton in common and click super well, but one difference. He's a dog person and I am not. The context for anyone thinks I'm a monster. I didn't grow up with pets, and the only experiences I have with them are being chased, bitten, knocked down by my friends' dogs when I was really little. I'm not as scared of them anymore, but definitely don't have a lot of familiarity with dogs. Anyway, this guy, we'll call him Ben, has a dog called Daisy. The first time I went over to his place, I let him know I was excited to meet Daisy, but gave him a heads up that I'm not super comfortable with big dogs. Daisy is a golden retriever, so what I'd consider big.
I don't know why, but I pictured a Jack Russell with the name Daisy.
Yeah, it's kind of giving Winn-Dixie vibes
Yeah, a little bit.
with your girlfriend. Ben was super into Anna Sophia Robb when he was younger. I mean, he still is. I mean, she's still hot, so.
Less so the Winn-Dixie Anna Sophia Robb, though.
Well, yes, but when she was in Winn-Dixie, you were the same age as her at that time, so.
But I never watched Winn-Dixie.
No, but you Bridge to Terabithia and Soul Surfer.
Fair.
Daisy is a golden retriever, so what I'd consider big, so I might need a second to get comfortable. He understood and was nice about telling Daisy when to get down when she would jump up on me. She's really cute, and I learned not to freak out when she'd bark and run at me. The first time I stayed overnight there, he said he was curious about how it would go since Daisy usually slept in his bed with him, and I was the first girl to stay over since he got a dog. We went to bed with Daisy in the middle of us. I woke up in the night on the edge of the bed as Daisy had moved over to my side, and I was basically dangling off the side. I had work early the next day and I wanted to make sure I got sleep, so I went out to the couch. I was a little frustrated. This was my first time staying overnight with a guy in a while, and it would have felt nice to feel close instead of being forced to the couch. I made a note that I probably wouldn't sleep over again, especially on a work night, until we figured this out. Ben woke up and came out to the living room and felt horrible. He said, "We can sleep on the couch and you can take the bed." We, meaning him and Daisy. I was like, when I agreed to stay over, I kind of wanted to sleep near you and not alone in your bed. We decided to both go back to bed, and he pulled Daisy over so she was less on my side. I was frustrated by how the night went, but I thought, oh well, we're figuring this out and adjusting. When I told all this to my best friend, she didn't understand why I didn't wake him up and demand that he move the dog out of the bed. I guess it didn't occur to me to assert myself in that way, since it felt like I was interrupting their routine. You were. After all, we had only been dating for a couple of weeks at this point. Reasonable conclusion.
The offense still kind of sucks.
Anyway, I was starting to see how much our plans revolved around Daisy, which I understood. Like I said, I've never had pets, so I wasn't sure what it's like. I accepted that he would likely never stay at my place. He didn't want to leave her alone overnight. But there have been times when this has directly gotten in the way of us connecting. A recent time when I was staying over, warning, slightly not safe for work. We were talking before bed with Daisy asleep between us as always, and he was being flirty and I could tell he was in the mood. I asked if he wanted to have sex and said I was down, but he was like, "I wish we could," gesturing to Daisy sleeping between us. What? I was kind of speechless that a guy would have an actual girl he was attracted to in his bed who was down to do stuff, but let his pet get in the way. Ben has launched cats across the room. Like, to be fair, in a safe way where they were landing on something soft and weren't like hitting walls or anything. Like the four paws on the floor were how they were landing.
Plus,
Still.
it's not like I'm football chucking the things. Like 21, 22 meow. But it's like a light eating. As I would do for our children, except I would make sure
if they were also getting in the way of us having sex.
To be fair, I lightly yeet our daughter on a regular basis. It's just always
but that's for her health.
Yeah. It's on just like couches and beds. It's not on sometimes a trampoline. Cats and children deserve a yeeting from time to time. Yeet your children.
Yeah, it actually acts as a nervous system reset to have that free-falling feeling and then landing on something soft. So if your kids are ever kind of going through it, having a rough time, getting tantrumy, can't come out of it, really upset, a couple of body slams onto the couch will fix them right up.
And they'll be giggling all the time.
The next day, he texted me about how he wishes we could have had sex the night before. Dude, we could have. The final thing that bothered me was a few weeks after that. Ben was leaving for a work trip for the weekend, and his friend was going to pick up Daisy the next day to watch her. We were hanging out at Ben's place, and his friend called and said he couldn't come to get Daisy at that specific time, so Ben was kind of scrambling to figure something else out and have another friend pick her up. I was also going out of town the next day, which is why I didn't offer. I also didn't think he'd leave her with me due to my lack of experience. He got it figured out, but He got it figured out, but was super stressed and frustrated with his friend. Even though they figured it out, he told me he was in a bad mood and felt all angsty. I offered to go home and give him some space, but he said he wanted to spend time together before we both left for our trips. We decided to relax and watch a movie, but the vibes were so off. We would usually cuddle when watching something, but we were just sitting there and he was so moody and cold. It sounds clingy, but I was craving some closeness, you know? Then later on, I look over and he's snuggling with Daisy and saying all these sweet things to her, and this made me want to lose it. I felt absolutely insane for being jealous of a dog, but in that moment, it felt like I would always come second. I think this needs to come to an end anyway. It doesn't seem like he has the capacity for a relationship right now, and it's clear my emotional needs aren't being met. But I guess my question is, am I overreacting for feeling jealous of his dog? Or is he weirdly close with his dog to the point where it's getting in the way of forming a relationship? And more so, how do you navigate this in relationships? I was on dating apps briefly last year and remember almost every guy on there had a dog that was understandably a huge part of his life. I feel like I was really open to getting comfortable with Daisy despite my fears and being understanding about how demanding this was, maybe a little too much. I was fully accepting that a relationship with Ben means taking a backseat to his dog. Is it going to be an issue with me with dating that I'm not a dog person? Is having a pet really all that all-encompassing? Or is this a unique situation?
Right. First of all, you're not overreacting. Well, you are overreacting, but also this guy is too close to his dog.
Well, then is it an overreaction? Like, technically, she hasn't even done anything yet. Or, like, would she be overreacting to break up with a dude?
No, because you are wanting something that this guy is not willing to do, which is put you before the dog. When people have been single for a long time, especially guys, they will latch onto a thing. It being a dog is one of the healthiest ways this could go, as long as it's not unhealthy, because as long as there's nothing peanut butter involved, you're fine. If that is the case, you don't want him around, because you want somebody who's going to put you first. If that's not how it is, and he is just kind of weird, you also don't want that in your life, because that's not what this woman wants. Either way, he's not in a position in his life that you want him to be at, so you should not be together.
I definitely don't think it's weird. You know, that's weird and you don't like it. That's a non-starter for me. But it's a compatibility thing. Like, I reckon you're absolutely right that he's had some sort of emotional fixation onto his dog where there's a lot of transference of the sort of emotional intimacy that he could have with a person is now on this dog.
Peanut butter.
It all comes down to whether or not she could see herself with him long-term outside of that. Because if she can, then it's worth at the bare minimum having the conversation. Like, this is how you behave with your dog. I don't consider it reasonable for us to not be having sex when we both want to because there's a dog asleep on the bed. Like, yes, Daisy absolutely matters. She's important, and I'm validating that. But surely she can be somewhere else for the duration. And if it's one thing to not consider that because, again, you've always lived your life around your dog. But if when that is brought to the forefront of his mind, if his response is to not be willing to change whatever routines he has in order to facilitate the development of that relationship, then yeah, she's nailed it in that he's not ready for one.
Two other things. First of all, I think two other things. I can't remember what the second one is now. First up, there are other places you could have gone if you really wanted to have sex. There's a couch there's already been stated to be a couch if he's that weird about it. That was the other thing. I don't think the not wanting to have sex because the dog's in the bed is the worst offender in this. It's your girlfriend is craving some level of emotional connection in this moment when you're about to leave. And you're being moody towards her when your friend is the one that's fucked up, not her.
Despite the fact that he was literally saying that he also wanted that same emotional connection and that's why he didn't want her to leave.
And he's treating in this moment, he's treating the dog the way the girlfriend wants to be treated. I feel like that is the worst offense that he does in this entire situation.
Yeah. It's like, if this is what you needed, I could have gone home like I offered.
This guy seems like he's got some weird shit in his search history. And not in the fun way. I don't yuck most people's yums, but yuck. This guy gives off bad vibes.
You reckon?
Yeah.
It's like, I could see that if there was like, he doesn't like me staying over. Like, as soon as we have sex, he expects me to leave, you know? Whereas he's very much wanting to kind of invite her into this relationship with Daisy. And I feel like if there was something shady going down, then I feel like there'd be a lot more, like he'd be throwing up a lot more barriers to entry.
As far as we know, they haven't had sex. And that dog shares his bed every night.
Okay.
I don't know. It is just a vibes thing. I don't have any evidence to back it. This guy seems like he's putting peanut butter places he shouldn't. I've made too many peanut butter jokes.
To be fair, you've only made one peanut butter joke. You've just said it over and over and over again.
Yep. Counting as 3.
So we are going into a cyber bin chickens, digging through two hot takes trash. Thank you very much, Morgan. I, 27 female, don't want to invite my fiance's 27 male co-worker to our wedding.
Is the fiance or the co-worker the Ben?
You'll find out I don't share exactly who the Ben is. Fake names to protect identities. My 27 female fiance, 27 male, and I have been together for about 3 years and are getting married this fall. Early on into dating, Ben introduced me to his co-worker/friend, Melissa, at a party she threw at her home with her fiance. She seemed fine, quite chatty and really friendly with Ben, but overall, she was fine. Ben and I start going around the party and introducing ourselves to other people at the party when Ben starts accidentally saying, "This is my girlfriend Melissa," referring to me. I hear this, and at first I'm like, did that just happen? But it happened again, and I'd have to correct him and say, "I'm sorry, my name is Megan." Weird, right? Because he wouldn't even correct himself when it happened. I would usually brush this off as a fluke, but this happened 6 to 7 different times throughout our first year or so of dating, and even after we had moved in together. One time being at a wedding of one of Ben's former college classmates where she wasn't even at this wedding, I confront this name/Freudian slip problem up with him, and I'm like, "Do you like her or something? Is there something you're not telling me?" To which he swears up and down that they never dated or did anything. He says, "I've never thought of her like that. I'm sorry, I try really hard not to do that. I have no clue why I do that." Since then, he's never gotten my name wrong. We met up for dinner with Melissa and her fiance. I find out that she knows a lot of details about our life together and Ben personally. She even brings up in conversation about knowing my brother recently got his girlfriend pregnant very young while they were both still living at home and relying on their parents, and that she knew my family was probably very worried about what they were going to do. This is just something I seldomly tell people because I don't like to share a lot of intimate details of my life like that. Ben had obviously disclosed this private info to her. She's super nosy and likes to chat and ask invasive questions. It's like she took joy in showing off that she knew a lot about us. I tell Ben she gives me a vibe. I can't quite describe it, but it just seems like she knows a little too much about him and was quite interested in him. He brushes this off, saying, "How could she possibly be interested in me? She has a fiance." We go to another housewarming party they invite us to. She follows us around the party the whole night. I'm not joking. Like, the whole time, we can't even mingle with other people. She's always right there asking Ben questions and obnoxiously laughing at something he said. She has millions of other friends there, but only talks to us or follows Ben around. Ben shares that he and I went engagement ring shopping and we're planning on getting engaged soon. I notice that she hears this and quickly sort of excuses herself to go to her bedroom and shuts the door. I shit you not, she comes out of her bedroom a little while later and she looked like she'd been crying. Her cat eyeliner and mascara had obviously been, smudged and running. Now listen, I'm the first to give someone the benefit of the doubt. I hate jumping to conclusions and assuming something in the chance I might be wrong. But I couldn't shake the coincidence. I also want to emphasize Ben has a bunch of other female friends, all of whom I adore and have become friends with myself, separate from Ben. I really wanted to like Melissa. She made it super apparent she was mostly just focused on Ben. Eventually, Ben and I have a long convo about her and we come to the joint decision that we're going to stop pursuing a friendship with them because of how I feel. I feel bad about Ben having to distance himself from her, but she doesn't want to make me uncomfortable. But he doesn't want to make me uncomfortable anymore. Ben leaves his job where him and Melissa worked for an amazing new company. Melissa tells Ben that she wants to leave the company they worked for and wants to work at his new company with him. She asks him if he'd get her a job there. Ben doesn't tell me until after the fact that he put Melissa in as a referral for a couple of openings with his new company. She gets into the final round, but doesn't end up getting an offer. I feel relieved. There eventually comes a job opening on Ben's direct team, and Ben's manager saw he had referred her and interviews her and offers her the job. She accepts and is now on Ben's team. Ben lets me know this, and we have another long conversation about how she makes me feel. I don't want to put Ben in a bad position at work. There's nothing really we can do about them working together. He assures me that he'll keep it strictly professional. There was plenty he could do about them not working together. He could have not fucking put the referral in or accepted it.
He could have said to his boss, "Hey, she gives bad vibes," or "Hey, we used to bang."
That wouldn't have been necessary had he not done the referral for her.
I'm just saying, trying to not come across as the bad guy, which this guy would have obviously been doing, putting in the referrals, is one thing. You can not come across as the bad guy and put in those referrals, and then speak to your boss and be like, "Hey, I put in these referrals."
Under duress.
Yeah. Don't do it. Just don't. But also, obviously, at some point they were banging.
They'll be on different ends of the team, so they won't talk very much anyways, and if I want to see their messages, but no more texting, periodically I can go in and view them whenever I want, which I decline the offer because that feels too invasive of his privacy. My only request is that I just don't feel comfortable inviting Melissa and her husband to our wedding. Low-key, I'm sorry, I'm so worried he'll see her sitting out there in the audience and accidentally pull a Ross from Friends and say, I, Ben, take you, Melissa. I mean Megan. When we say I do's. Ben pushes back a little, saying that's going to be hard, he doesn't like hurting people's feelings, but eventually agrees that we won't invite her. Her first day at the new gig on Ben's team was last Monday. Her direct manager approaches Ben and asks if Ben wants to be Melissa's mentor so it would look good for his promotion he's up for. Every new hire gets paired with someone on the team as part of a big mentor program for onboarding. This will last for a whole year of her employment. He accepts the position as her mentor and thinks it's a genius idea that since I don't like Melissa and we've talked about how I don't want to invite her to our wedding, he's not going to tell me he's her mentor at work and meeting with her and talking to her every single day. I find this out and that he's been texting her in the last few months because I found a card in our mailbox congratulating us on our new apartment and thanking Ben for helping her get the job. Meaning he's given her a new address since we moved this past month. I don't understand why he'd be deceitful. Can anyone give me advice on how to get through this? This new revelation immediately sends us back into a convo about her and how he feels really bad about not inviting her to the wedding. He has another co-worker/mutual friend of ours who we are inviting to the wedding, and he's worried that Melissa will find out that we're inviting another co-worker and not her. That quote, "You don't understand how awkward and uncomfortable this situation makes me feel," he says. To which I remind him that this girl in the name switcheroo has been awkward and uncomfortable for me for our whole relationship. So am I the asshole for not wanting to invite his co-worker to our wedding?
So they're obviously fucking. This guy is a disappointment to all mankind. You should run. You should run so far away. I got nothing else. That guy's
End
a
of
schmuck.
communication.
Yeah, that guy's a schmuck. If he hasn't been sleeping with her, they are the kind of, hey, we are holding out for each other and we're never actually going to get married to other people, or we're going to get married to other people and let it blow up when it finally comes out, when we finally have the balls to admit that we want to bang. Or we don't admit that we want to bang, we just bang anyway and just cheat on everyone around us. Either way, guy's a schmuck.
Top comment, take 3 steps back and then take a long look at their relationship. It seems there's far more going on between them than a professional relationship. They are circling each other and you are not in their orbit. He disrespected you by not being honest about the job situation or sharing personal information. They are becoming tight, too tight for a third, and that's what you are to both of them. Response. This. Even if OP can't find proof of a physical relationship, it's overtly clear that Melissa takes precedence in Ben's mind over OP. He's disregarded OP's wishes multiple times now, going as far to keep what he's doing with Melissa at work secret from OP. He's promised to keep her at arm's length and barely holds to it for a few months before going back to before, even closer since he got her a job on his own team and then as a mentor. He went from seeing her at lunch every day to, oh no, sweetie, I won't talk to her again, to working directly at her side all 8 hours of the day. OP is not number one in his heart. Another response, he got her that job at his office for a reason. He wants her around him, period. If he cared about your feelings, he would have let her stay at his old company. He recruited her.
It's another Daisy.
At least in this case, the dog didn't really have a say in it one way or another.
You mean in the dog one, they didn't have a say in it? This girl definitely knows what she's been doing.
You reckon? Because this comment's quite interesting. I'm saying this gently and with love because OP needs to hear it. Girl, are you insane? Ben spends years introducing you as someone else. Not Melissa's fault, Ben's fault. Ben tells Melissa private stories about you. Ben's fault. Ben goes out of his way to get her a job in which they work closely together and agrees to be her mentor. Ben's fucking fault. You should sympathize more with Melissa because the dude is playing you both.
Yes, that would be fair if Melissa wasn't also engaged.
She married now.
She's married now. Then if just same thing though. Like, from this woman's perspective, yes, this is all Ben's fault. But also, Melissa is a willing part of this situation and also willingly fucking over her husband. I'm not saying that Ben isn't at fault. I'm just saying there are 2 assholes in this situation and OP is neither of them.
I don't know, I kind of think she is. If only to herself. Because, like, my fucking dude, you call me by someone else's name 3 times? They're not fucking finding your body, mate. I don't trust you anymore.
From the sound of that, it was not 3 times.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, like, by the 3rd time, that's it, I'm fucking done. It's not lasting years, man.
No.
Like the first time, I'm brushing it off and ignoring it. I may not even notice it. The second time, I'm noticing the pattern and asking the question, like, bro, that's the second time you've done that. The fuck's going on? And that is the first and only time I will give you the benefit of the doubt of whatever answer you tell me. Third time, it's like, I don't trust whatever the fuck answer you're giving me anymore. Like, I don't...
Yeah, but also people are dumb. People don't want to see the truth. So yes, she is fucking herself over. I don't think that makes her an asshole because I think asshole requires intent. And this woman is not doing this.
I see it as purposeful ignorance.
I don't see it as purposeful.
know, you're in denial.
Because the moment she's noticing, she's asking.
Yeah, and then follows through on nothing.
Okay? I meant she's asking this, not she's asking Ben. Because she asked Ben and then he stopped calling her Megan. And it is very much
Stop calling her Melissa. Her name is Megan. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. It is very much he keeps moving the goalposts because she asked for this, he does it, and then all of a sudden something worse happens. But it is I want to believe my partner is trying to be better. She's dating an addict, is what it is. Well, she's engaged to an addict.
If he's talking about not wanting to upset people, like...
Your fiancé should be the first person you're trying not to upset.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like how family members treat each other like shit, and then like, well, you can't cut me off. I'm family. It's like there's an expectation where you can treat the people closest to you worse because you assume they're not going anywhere.
Ben and Melissa are both trash people. You should go off. Find Melissa's husband. Inform her of all of this. Run away with him.
I'm pretty sure I've read a story where exactly that has happened.
Oh, of course.
And then the chick that her husband was...
And then the table clapped.
the chick that her husband had cheated on her with, they had eventually gotten married, but then she found out that she was marrying her ex-husband, and then she melted the fuck down. You just want whatever someone else has. You don't give a fuck what it is. Like, this is toddler behavior.
See, I can't comment too much on that one because I've been in one of those situations.
What, you only wanted me because you did?
No.
You only wanted me.
First of all, not talking about you. Second of all, I've been the third person. So back in the day, I was dating a woman. When we split up, she went after the other guy she was interested in when we first started dating. But he had a girlfriend. Didn't care, still slept with him. Fast forward 4 years.
Okay, so that's we're into 4 people now.
Yes, but I have no connection to the guy. He's connected over here. I'm not connected to him. Fast forward a few years. I'm at university in another town. I end up at a party with some friends of mine over at their college. Meet a girl. End up talking to her. We find out that we have this connection through my ex. And I find out after the fact that she was trying to hook up with me to get back at my ex. I'm like...
If you'd told me that, I would have gladly done it. Like...
Oh, no, it was like, this is several relationships ago. I don't care anymore. Shouldn't have hooked up with her because it turns out she was crazy. And I mean that literally. Like, I looked out my window a few times and she was standing next to the car park staring at my window. We had to call the cops on her. Message to all of you gentlemen out there. And ladies, but it's more figurative for ladies. Don't stick your dick in crazy.
I'm going to go the complete opposite direction. Ladies, if ever you all want equality with men, you need to be willing to commit up to 97% of violent crimes. Traumatize the men back. You survived, you're here, you're fine. What were you wearing, Ben? What were you wearing?
I can't remember. I was in my bedroom.
So probably nothing.
I don't like being naked.
Except for purpose.
Yes. But just laying around
without
in bedroom?
Purpose.
No, laying around in bedroom? Generally not naked. Even before I had children to worry about walking in.
Moving on to a specific segment you haven't had the joy of having yet. You're going to need the whiteboard and the marker, and there is a rag over there to rub stuff out if you need to. That name isn't a tragedy, it's a murder. But it's different. I have not found horrendously spelt names that Ben has to figure out how these terrible parents have spelled.
You're going to ask me to spell Benjamin in different ways, aren't you?
I am. And your task is this. Picture yourself as a Southern Baptist trad wife from the Bible Belt of the US. You and your husband, Jonathan Brent Taylosh, are having your 12th child and you are naming him Benjamin. How are you going to spell Benjamin?
I'm going to give you a couple of options for this. First of all is the Australian white trash. The I is overpronounced, so it's Benjamin. Second is the Roster way, which is Benjamin.
Isn't that how it's spelled?
Without the apostrophe, yes.
Oh, I didn't even see the apostrophe. You got to write your letters and separate them out so we can see what you're going for. Because that just looked like a dot above the J.
I do not write slow. I cannot write slow.
You can if you do every individual letter as a capital.
Then there's, for the nerds out there, Benjamin, done with apostrophes galore, Star Trek style. But we want a Bible Belt.
Yes, like you're very much failing the assignment right now.
I am giving the different ways that I believe Benjamin could be spelt or would be spelt. Can I get how many syllables there are? Actually, no, that's...
This is a challenge for you. I don't have set writings for this, man.
Can you use it in a sentence? No. There you go. That is my actual guess. Beenjurmin, and then E with the accent over the top. I don't know what you call that.
I mean, I know that when...
It's not a normal ouch, I know that much.
No.
It's the double dots.
No, but when you do that, that E is pronounced like an A. So it's Benjamina.
That's taking me too far back to my childhood. I had family friends that used to call me that constantly, and I wanted to slap the shit out of the mother that was calling me that. It would have been bad enough if the children were calling me that, but the grown-ass cunt of a mother was calling me that every time she saw me as well. Fucking Tisdales. Fine then. No A with the apostrophe. Benjamin. I thought you already had this written down somewhere.
No, I didn't. So now I'm just figuring it out.
It starts with a GH, like fish.
Okay. So in order to spell names in a culturally appropriate way for the whack jobs that we're referring to, you have to extend out every single sound with as many letters as possible. So this is what I got. BEHNGIJIR fucking hell. BEHNJIARHMAINE. Benjamin.
Pretty sure that's Benjamin, but like the state.
Could probably do with another N at the end as well.
Yeah, you can probably stick another M in there as well.
What did you think of your husband's name? Now you know why I was asking you whether or not there was a sixth friend.
I didn't hear Brent.
Jonathan Brent Taylosh.
Okay.
Alrighty, moving on. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4.
I looked up different ways of spelling Benjamin. One of them had a B at the start of it. Benjamin.
Does that say the vag? I said it was a B, like in vagina.
I love our friends.
That
Sorry.
was Karen from Will and Grace.
I know, but that made me think of Josh today congratulating me on getting swimmer's ear. Such a great line too.
I know I did well. I just slotted that right in there. I feel like Ben didn't really respond well to that section of my set because I didn't make it obvious that he was good at it.
To be fair, before you had started telling me that part of your set, you had told me that it was all just singing my praises about how good I am.
Yeah, because that's how I heard it in my head. And then when I said it out loud, I'm like, oh, that context actually isn't there.
If anything, it makes me sound like I'm bad in bed.
Yeah, not true, by the way. Anyone watching this episode has probably already seen all of the other ones where that's been made evident.
Yeah, I do what I do.
Okay, so some shit can't sense it can't. Because we cannot do all of them, pretty much, I will read you the title and you will tell me whether or not it's piqued your curiosity enough to continue. Am I the asshole for not wanting my kids to be named Ben and Jerry?
Yeah. Name them Tom and Jerry instead.
Will I be the asshole for going back on my agreement to be a surrogate for my sister?
Go for it. Sounds white trash enough. Some folks will never lose a toe, but then again, some folks will.
For most of my life, my sister Alice has been wanting kids but has been unable to carry a baby to full term, in part due to endometriosis. She was in a lot of pain and had to have a hysterectomy. Alice and her husband, Ben, have fostered 5 children and adopted 2 children with autism. They are great parents. They have a good home environment and are financially very well off. But recently, Ben, and after a while, Alice, was bitten by the urge to have a kid biologically related to them because they wanted a chance to do things right and provide the best start in life. Their views, not mine. So they asked me to be their traditional surrogate and said they would cover all costs, legal, medical, etc., associated with it. They'd also be paying off my student debt, renting a 2-bedroom apartment for 3 years, plus giving me a substantial amount of cash. I said, sure, it'll be 9 months of my life in exchange for being set up for quite some time, and my immediate family thinks it's a great idea. However, when I said sure, I was expecting something along the lines of IUI, intrauterine insemination.
But instead, it was Ben's going to plow.
Where we go to the doctor and get Ben's sperm prepped, me getting shots, etc. Basically the whole artificial insemination package. But Alice and Ben have asked me to, well, get pregnant the traditional way. Their rationale is that 1, it's the cheapest way, 2, they don't want to go to the hospital now, and 3, they think babies conceived naturally are healthier / their pregnancy would be safer without the chemicals. But I just can't get over the extreme ick factor. Even if this was going to take place at home, I think a syringe would work fine. Will I be the asshole if I go back on my word? Is their request reasonable? My immediate family doesn't see anything wrong with it and has been congratulating my sister on her impending baby. On the other hand, if I do give up, am I also mad for passing up what is essentially $200K, especially in this economy now?
That would make you a rather pricey whore. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase.
An incredibly well-paid sex worker.
Yes. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you want to be paid to be a surrogate, not a sex worker. And also, and I mean that literally in the context of this story, and also, you need to check your states because in a lot of places, especially in America, it is actually illegal to be paid in any form or function to be a surrogate. But technically you would be a surrogate though, because you were still the one that got knocked up.
Yeah. That's
Fucking
your baby,
weird.
man.
Yes, that is your baby. But also from the seams of things, that was the plan either way. It was just a IVF using your eggs. From what I can...
Or IUI with your eggs.
Yeah.
But still, like, my family doesn't see any problem with it.
Sweet home Alabama.
I reckon you could get a new one of those on Marketplace pretty quick.
Yeah. Might have less teeth, but they might help you fuck up your old family. That's the kind of family you want to find on Marketplace.
I mean, shit, you need a new family. Go to your local game shop. They'll have all of their teeth, plus you'll get a whole bunch of new hobbies. And they'll help you move.
Yeah, but a drug problem's usually cheaper.
Fair.
But all joking aside, that's fucking cooked. Tell them if they want to have a baby with you being the surrogate, you need to do it the traditional surrogate way, not the traditional getting banged by your brother-in-law way. Because, ick. Why is every Ben in this story been banging somebody else? Sorry, every Ben tonight been banging somebody else.
I mean, Ben 10 hasn't, as far as I'm aware.
There's rule 34 of it, I'm sure.
But Ben's be fucking. That's why there's so many of yous.
Yeah, the year I was born, it was 33rd most common name in the world. That was census dated at the very least.
I'm sure there was a time it was number 1.
Maybe in the West, but in general, probably not.
I mean, back then, they probably weren't checking the data anywhere else.
They were definitely still checking the data in China because they already had the one-child policy by then.
Well, I'm talking like 1800s, Ben.
Oh, okay. I was talking about when we were born. But yeah, no, you run fast and far because...
Okay, I'm sorry, I still need to cut you off. A one-child policy in China, they're gunning for a boy. They're not going to fucking call it Ben.
That was my point. When the one-child policy was in place, they were knowing the name of every child that was fucking born, and I guarantee less than 0.1% was named fucking Ben. And because there was still so fucking many of them, which I can't remember what comedian I was listening to that was saying, hey, we have a 1.4 billion people in our country, and that's with the one-child policy. You know we can get down.
I feel like we were literally just watching that.
Yeah, it was the long-haired dude, I think. Either that or it was
the
one of...
long-haired dude in what?
We watched his stand-up the other night. He was a long-haired Asian guy. It was either him or...
We've only been watching Kevin Hart's
No,
Funny
it
as
was
Fuck, and
before
we
we
watched
started
Aaron
that.
Chen.
There was another one between those two.
Okay.
He looks like a stoner Asian
Oh,
dude.
Shang Wang.
Yeah.
Shang Wang. Continue.
It was either him or it was one of Kevin Hart's Funny as Fuck people. One or the other. Yeah, you need to run. You need to run the fuck away from your family. Preferably the lot of them. Don't let that Ben get you alone in a room, because that there's something unhinged about your brother-in-law and your sister.
I mean, they may not even actually give a shit about having a kid, and he just pushed his wife into finding a reason to be able to fuck his sister-in-law. From what you've described here, you don't have any kids of your own, which is probably also why they're attempting to avoid any sort of official means of going about this, because you cannot be a surrogate if you do not have kids of your own. Because the idea of potentially having your first child and then having to hand it off, especially if it is literally your biological child, it's not someone else's egg or anything, like, there's too much psychological risk of harm there. That's why you're not allowed to do it without all of these like really stringent tests and shit.
It almost happens to Phoebe. I know she's not a surrogate, but it almost happens in Juno with her. There is definitely a moment at the end of Juno where she considers not letting them take her kids or her kid. You don't want this shit in your life.
No, there's definitely something fucking shady going on down here.
They're shit cunts. You're a sick cunt. Though this does bring me back to for some friends of hers, my mother once asked me to be a donor for a lesbian couple that she was friends with, because my family are very pro-LGBT community, have been for forever, because I'm the token straight guy in my family. And let's be real, not that straight. But I couldn't even do that. Like, knowing that there was a kid out there that was technically my kid, couldn't do it and not want to be part of that kid's life.
Yeah. There's also the whole, you've adopted 2 autistic kids, but you want to do it right by raising them the right way from the beginning. Like, you think you're going to avoid that. No kid deserves to be your fucking experiment. As soon as you're saying, like, hey, we want a biological kid now because the ones we took on are fucking defective, like, you've automatically lost any and all respect I had for you. And I believe that you shouldn't have any of the kids you do fucking have.
To be fair, with the fostering and the adopting, it could be that this has been a long-standing thing they've been doing. It's like they could have fostered kids and adopted kids that have now aged out of their household, because we don't know what time frame that was over. And it could also be we have done the other side of things with adoption of fostering, but now we want to actually have our own kid.
I feel like that's giving way too much benefit of the doubt, given how this situation ended up.
Yes, but also for other people that are in a similar situation, just because you have fostered and adopted kids and you can't biologically have your own kids because of this reason or that reason, doesn't mean you should ever feel like you can't try and have kids through proper surrogacy, not banging your sister-in-law. Also, she wants to have her own biological kids. That's not going to be her biological kid.
Well, she's saying, like, connected biologically because they're sisters.
I suppose, but
yeah,
you're always going to know that you're actually the aunt. And I mean that too.
Especially if your husband literally fucked your sister.
The only way that could be worse is if it was her sister, his sister that they were trying to ask.
Top comment. If you don't have biological children, you couldn't be their medical surrogate, and that's why they're pushing for this. It doesn't sound like you have any biological children. The reason why they want you to do it this way is because you wouldn't qualify as a surrogate without having carried at least one healthy pregnancy to term. It has zero to do with chemicals, costs, or any other bullshit. It's because they couldn't find a doctor who would be willing to knock you up under these circumstances. Do not do this. There are a host of legal issues if you DIY this. That baby is your baby at birth if you don't go through an agency. You're being conned. Your out is just telling everyone that you're totally willing to do this, but you're not willing to have sex with your brother-in-law or be turkey basted. Follow up. This OP, this. It's super creepy that they want you to have sex with your brother-in-law. So many issues. Please don't do this.
Don't do Ben.
Following up, another comment. If I had to guess, I would say that the sister wants children of her own and brother-in-law kind of steered the conversation towards having a natural way child with OP. I just can't see the sister coming up with a plan in which her husband has sex with her sister until it takes. That is so whack. I cringed from thinking of someone mentioning letting my brother-in-law bone me.
Probably doesn't help that your brother-in-law is like 15. Sorry, probably makes it worse with that mentality.
Oh, my brother.
It's your
Right.
brother. Like, I only have brother-in-law-in-laws. Step-brother-in-laws?
That sounds like a porn category.
Yeah, that's too many degrees of separation for the people that are looking up for step stuff. Like, one is probably more than they really want to have as separation.
I'm not one to have a comment on that. I'm good not having an opinion on that.
I'm more saying that the people who are looking up that kind of thing, they freaks.
There is
fucking
an
freak.
update. I, 25 female, agreed to be a surrogate for my sister and her husband, late 30s, but I am regretting it now. All the comments on my previous post showed me that I'm way too young, dumb, and ignorant with what I signed up with. I started researching actual lived experiences and I read so many horror stories that I've decided not to go ahead with being involved in any way, shape, or form with helping them have kids.
Good girl.
In fact, I'm not even sure I ever want to get pregnant at all after the stories about the 3rd and 4th degree tears, poop, miscarriages. I'm clearly not in the right stage of life or maturity to even consider doing something of this magnitude. The difficult part was mustering up the courage to call my sister to tell her my decision. I really look up to her. I really look up to my sister and love her lots, and our family and religion has always been about helping others out where we can. There it is.
To be fair,
Mormon love?
To be fair, that's not just a Mormon, that's a general religion.
I
thing.
know.
But also, if people are following that part of their religion, that's the best part of their religion to follow. Just don't force that part on other people and make them feel like they need to do it for you.
Yeah, it's the fucking only your relatives to keep the lines pure that's the problem.
See, that's the weird thing. Mormonism, not really about that. They're more about fucking everyone. Mormonism has polygamy as a very common thing. No, polyamory, sorry.
No, polygamy. It's only the men who can have multiple wives. That's not a
Okay.
shared experience. And it's not like the wives are in relationship with each other, so that's not polyamory.
Okay.
Oh, maybe polygamy is one form of polyamory.
I always thought
don't have enough
polygamy was this is happening, but the other side's not okay with it. Like, I always thought the polygamy was just the fancy way of saying that they're cheating on you. I know that what you're talking about is called kitchen table polygamy. Sorry,
Okay.
polyamory. Because I was literally listening to a thing about this today because it was part of a comedy show. Kitchen table polyamory is that everybody that's involved in the polycule would be able and willing to sit down at a kitchen table and have a meal or play games together. Whereas there is other forms where it's like, hey, not everyone that's in this polycule gets on, but they don't have to because there's at least 2 degrees of separation at all times.
Oh, yeah. But again, that's all different kinds of polyamory.
Yes.
So, like, sure, you may all be in somewhat of a relationship with each other, but it is also possible that, you've got different triangles here and there that are only connected via one member. Or it's like, we're girlfriends and we share a boyfriend and that boyfriend has another boyfriend that we don't have anything to do with. Like, and it's just like a chain connection.
Or the girl from Futurama, Beast with a Billion Backs, who has like 8 boyfriends and Fry is reluctantly a part of it.
When I called to tell her, we had a short convo at first where I basically said, sorry, can't do it, but that doesn't mean I love you any less. She seemed sad, but said she was happy to respect my decision, and I thought that was it. Then, just last night, sister and brother-in-law called me back over Zoom. My sister was crying and begged me to reconsider, as both of them really want biological kids. Brother-in-law told me they were really disappointed in me and hoped that I would find it within me to do this. When I told them my concerns, my brother-in-law just said pregnancy and motherhood is a beautiful and natural process and that I was made for this. I'm so glad I did this over a video call instead of in person, because I just hung up on them and faked having a connection problem. I've been ignoring her text so far, and frankly, I don't know what else to say. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart for opening my eyes.
If I was that woman, the disconnection of that would be, was that a connection issue? No, go fuck yourself. Because that's how that should have been treated. If you're trying to force somebody to be a surrogate for you by manipulation or by coercion or any other form, they can go fuck themselves. Because the only way that they're going to be able to do that without you, this is coerced consent. And especially considering the way they want to do this inoculation is the only word that is coming to my mind.
Insemination.
Insemination, thank you. The way they're wanting to do this insemination.
If you could get some inoculations to keep your brother-in-law away from you, like.
Well, to be fair, if they're having inoculations, it'd still not be the right thing. The way that they want to do this insemination with coerced consent, that's rape. That's
all coerced consent is rape, by definition.
Well,
because coerced consent is not consent.
No, but because specifically the way they want to do the insemination rather than being through IVF. Like, if it was IVF, it would be a coerced medical procedure. Because he doesn't want to go through the medical procedure, he just wants to bang the sister-in-law, then it's rape. Otherwise, if it was coerced the other way, it'd just be a fucked up situation. Well, that kind of fucked up situation. Both situations. The entire situation is fucked up.
Yeah, I've also got the fact that she's significantly younger, is incredibly ignorant of the entire process.
Not so much anymore.
And all of them involved are trying to avoid all of the official routes. What the sister and brother-in-law is doing is classic grooming, like quite literally, even like all the way down to making the sex seem okay and appropriate.
Yeah, also, with her not knowing all of the things that can happen, were you not shown the trauma video as part of sex ed?
If they're religious, they didn't have sex ed, especially if they are...
Fucking America.
We don't know if they are American, but...
This is definitely some Bible Belt bullshit. Fucking America.
We have another update. Leaving for the airport in a few hours to move across the country, and I can't sleep. I plan to slowly phase out contact with my family and community, even though I love the people in their lots. Long story short, I went over to Alice and Ben's house to visit their kids in May. While there, they asked me in person to reconsider my decision. Sometime during this, Ben started kissing and groping me. I let him. I know that typing this out makes me seem dumb for going over and weak, because I was, but I just froze, and it was very difficult to say no in the moment, especially with my sister crying and Ben having quite a presence in person. Are you saying your brother-in-law sexually assaulted you?
Yes, she is.
And your sister watched?
Yes, she is. Please tell me Alice is spelled with an I.
Yes.
Thank fuck.
I wouldn't have been pronouncing it like that otherwise. I have replayed this scenario so many times in my head, wishing I was stronger in that moment. Luckily, that was the extent of it, and I was able to leave shortly after because I don't know what I would have done otherwise. I also received surprisingly no support from my parents or my bishop regarding my earlier decision. I didn't tell anyone the recent event. I don't think they knew what Alice and Ben were asking me exactly, and I didn't bring it up either. I was already sort of an outsider for not really conforming to the usual lifestyle of being married with kids, but this still shocked me. All of these things combined made me reevaluate my life. Working from home and having this much time alone has also given me a lot of time to think about things. I fell down the rabbit hole of reading stories of people who also left the church, and I want that life for me. So I've spent the last 3 months making arrangements, transferring to another part of my company, and today is the big day. I know it's not going to be easy. Pretending to be normal at the last Pioneer Day family gathering was the hardest thing I needed to do, but I did it for myself and for closure. But I'm going to get through this. Thank you for the advice, and stay safe, everyone. Good for you. I do hope that your deconstruction is everything you want it to be. Hit up Monte Mader. Though that being said, this is 6 years ago. So, 2020, fuck.
Yeah, also you're right, Pioneer Day is a Mormon holiday.
Oh.
Yeah. Celebrated entirely in Utah. I want this person, I'm assuming by this point, since that's a 6-year-old story, that they have cut them out. But there's a quick 2-phase program, 2-phasing out relatives that are like this. Phase 1, you cut them out entirely. Phase 2, profit. That might be just profit in the sense of a mentality. That could be profit as, hey, you're not having to spend money and time on these fuckwits. And that could be profit as in, hey, become a new minister of a new religion because work for Joseph Smith.
We have a tiny follow-up 1 year on. I got out feeling grateful 1 year on. My 1-year anniversary of leaving the mess that was my family behind is coming up. Dusting this old account off to keep a log that maybe I can look back on. It's a beautiful sunny day here, just feeling really grateful for life and all the opportunities I've had. Here's to the first year without them. Good for you, OP. A comment from a year later after that. So 2 years since she left.
2022, 4 years ago.
Yeah, and this is on a True Off My Chest post. The title is My Husband is Pushing Me to Agree to Make My Sister Our Surrogate Using the Traditional Way. And so our OP has responded, as crazy as this might seem, I literally went through the same experience from the other side. I was the sister. Previous posts are on my page. Had to log in just to say run. I'm no longer speaking to my family and don't keep up with their lives, but I sure hope you leave and never look back. And then you've got people responding to her comment. This post got me thinking about you. I actually came looking to see how you were doing. I'm glad to see that you're thriving. Another person, oh my God, holy shit, how are you? It's so awesome when posts of people who were really fucking going through it and Reddit remembers you, man.
Reddit
It's-
don't forget shit. Also, I'm going to bring a comment from the Book of Mormon to this OP's family. Hasadiga, which is, I believe, Swahili. So it's from the song Hasadiga Ibawai, which Ibawai means God, and Hasadiga means fuck you. So to this girl's family, fuck you.
One more.
Sure.
Okay. Am I the asshole for accusing my mum of trying to erase and replace my dad?
What's the other one?
Am I the asshole for telling my aunt and uncle they had no right to start a family argument at my wedding?
What else you got?
Am I the asshole for excluding my fiance's ex-wife from my life?
No, I don't care about that one.
Am I the asshole for not siding with the other wives?
Let's fuck up some Karens.
This comes to us from the best Redditor updates. Obligatory throwaway because I don't want this tied to my main account. First post, October 19 of 2020. Background, I've been with my husband for 6 years total, married for 2. We have no children and do not plan to. My 27 female husband, 32 male, has a group of guys he's been friends with since elementary school. After college, they all moved back to the same area and several of them rented a house together until they started getting girlfriends and moving out. After they moved out, they still had guys' nights nearly every Friday until COVID happened. They started back up a few months ago after restrictions in our area relaxed, and the majority of the guys started getting tested regularly because of their jobs. There is one single guy, let's call him Ben, left in the group, and they meet at his house and hang out in the carport to drink a few beers and shoot the shit.
Let's call him Matt.
Let's call who Matt?
The one single guy.
Let's call him Ben. His name is Ben.
I know, I was reflecting back on our social circle. We do ours on Tuesdays. Have done for years.
I've never had a problem with my husband, Will, going to guys' nights. He'll get off at 5 and is usually home no later than 8 every Friday. He never drives home drunk, and if he ever does have a few too many, I don't mind going to pick him up. I feel like I should note that we live the farthest away from Ben's house, about 15 minutes. All the other guys live within walking distance of Ben. Usually I bake cookies or other snacks for him to take with him to share with the guys. I also don't mind driving the other guys home if needed. If we have plans or anything, he just doesn't go. Since the guys' nights have resumed, the other wives have been complaining about it. We're friendly, but none of us are really good friends like our husbands are. We've tried to have a girls' night while the guys have their guys' night. Most of them have kids, and we really don't have anything in common outside of our husbands. It was just awkward. One of the guys, Alex, is married to Fran. They have a 1-year-old baby. Fran has been particularly vocal about not wanting Alex to be out every Friday, as she wants help at home. The other wives backed her up and started a group chat asking that we present a united front to cancel guys' night. So here's where I may be the asshole. I refuse to side with them. It gives me time to unwind after work, and it's become a part of my routine. I also value the time where I get to be completely alone in my house. So when the other wives told their husbands that they didn't want guys' night to happen anymore, I told Will that I didn't feel the same way and he should keep going. He enjoys it and he should get to see his friends regularly. So after the confrontation, the other guys started in with, why can't you be cool like Will's wife? Or she lets him go, she even makes us cookies and picks him up. Alex apparently made the comment, I wish I was still single like Ben. He can do whatever he wants and I miss that. All the other wives are pissed at me, saying if we'd been a united front like they planned, guys' night would either be cancelled or a less frequent occurrence, like once a month. So am I the asshole?
Right. From what I can tell, there are 3 not assholes in this entire situation. There's OP. There's OP's husband. And there's Ben. Because all of the women in this situation outside of OP are shitty people for wanting to cancel something that's been going on for ages and is also just a relatively low-key time for the guys to just be able to be guys. It's not in a toxic way. It's just, from what I can tell anyway, it's just the guys going out, hanging out, shooting the shit. It's not their fault that you guys don't get along.
Oh, if you're not Australian, shooting the shit just means like...
having a chat.
Yeah, talking.
You're talking shit, but it's not their fault that you guys aren't getting on. It's not their fault that the one that has a newborn kid, that guy's obviously an asshole for not telling the guys, hey, my wife's having a bit of a hard run on it right now because newborn kid, I'm going to stay home and help her.
He's a year old.
A year old? To be fair, any time where it's, hey, my kid is having a hard run of it and it's making it hard on my wife, I'm not saying it consistently stop going. I'm just saying, hey, there are times where it might not be the right thing to do to go to guys' night when your wife obviously needs your help with something. But also, all of the guys, especially I believe it was Alex, that said, oh, why can't you be cool like his wife? Or why I wish I was still single? Fuck off.
Should have fucking thought shit through. Men need to stop having kids like kids want to have puppies. It takes fucking work, mate. Know what you're getting into before you actually do it.
And it's not even that part of it. It's the don't talk to your wife like that. If I saw any of my friends talking to their wives like that, I'd slap them.
Well, I don't know if he actually said it to her.
Did it not say that he said that to her?
No, it's after the confrontation, the other guys started in with, why can't you be cool like Will's wife? Like, I don't know if this was all talking to each other or like in some sort of group setting, or if it happened in a group chat, I don't know.
The way that's written makes it sound like he said it to his wife. Because why can't you be cool like his wife?
It says Alex apparently made the comment, which does make it sound like this was a conversation that was had at the guys' night. So none of the wives would.
Okay. Either way.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, though. Like, those three people are the only non-assholes.
Yeah, if I had my friends talking like this just to the guys, we'd be having a conversation like, hey, man, are you okay? Are you happy in this situation still? Or is this just a, hey, I'm shitty about the fact that my wife wanted me to not come to my de-stress situation? Because that's what guys' nights are. Guys' nights are nothing negative about their wives. They are just... No, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be anything negative about your wife or your kids. Sometimes you just need a chance to stop and take away from everything else and just go hang out with the same guys you've been hanging out with since you were 6 years old, or however old you were when you started hanging out with those guys. In a slightly related note, I heard, so on top of my usual guys' night, which has been going on for, I want to say, like 3 or 4 years at this point, and started from the streaming and transitioned into its own thing. Most of my friends also play in my D&D group, and over the course of it, I've had myself and 2 of my best mates who are part of my guys' night circle have kids. And I've told them, if you don't take at least a month off of D&D, I'm going to come and disconnect your internet, because you need to, for at least the first
You've got
month,
shit to do.
Yeah, for at least the first month of you've got a kid, you need to be, D&D doesn't matter. You've got a kid to take care of. You've got a wife to take care of.
Shit, your wife hasn't recovered until 6 weeks. Bare minimum.
And it was anything longer than that, fair enough if you can't come for a while after.
Yeah, you do what you got to do.
This is your paternity leave from D&D. It's not optional. In one of my friends' case, his son has troubles getting to sleep some nights. And it is hey guys, I've just got to duck off to help my wife get our son to sleep. And that can happen constantly on a games night. Nobody's going to ask questions because, hey, you've got a kid to take care of. This is fun. Fun does not take priority over your family. Any one of your friends, any one of your friends tries to prioritize playing a game over children that need help, whether they're theirs or not, or their family, you slap that friend silly. And you might get into an actual blue about it, but afterwards, he'll understand, he'll know you were in the right, and he will apologize. We need more friends, more social circles that are willing to slap their friends. I'm coming for you.
I don't know if I agree with you as to why the women are the assholes, because, like, yes, all of the wives here are assholes, but not because they have a problem with their husbands attending guys' night.
I hope this is not just.
No, simply because if you've got a partner and they're checked out fucking off to guys' night, leaving you with everything to do, and you're not getting that same opportunity back, then yeah, you've absolutely should be shutting that shit down, because it's like, I'm sorry, if you're not pulling your weight at home, then we've got shit to do here. Like, pull your fucking weight. The issue is that that's got nothing to do with OP. Your responsibility here is not to try and manipulate the situation to shut it down so you can avoid looking like the singular bad guy. It's to have a fucking adult conversation with your husband. If they are not pulling their weight, then you should be working together so that way you're getting time off, he's getting time off, everything at home is still getting done, and you're actually functioning like the team you're supposed to be. We don't know whether or not the men are pulling their weights at home or not. But
except for that one guy that's bailing on his... Actually, Yeah, he's 1 year old. He's a year
For all
old.
we know, he's a fucking stay-at-home dad all week and is doing it all, and that one Friday night is his only time off.
Valid. This group seems overly secular because it's very much coded as the women can only have a girls' night if it's the women from that social circle having a girls' night. Like, you can have friends outside of this group. There are plenty of friend groups where it's like, hey, this is his friend group and this is her friend group, and in big occasions, both of those friend groups are going to end up at the same party. But outside of that, they don't need to know each other. Unfortunately, a lot of the times in those situations, it ends up being hey, somebody else from this group has started hooking up with somebody else from that friend group, because that's just how shit happens. You'll need to make some friends outside of your direct circle. Like,
well, we don't know if that's not the case.
well, that's my thing, though. If that isn't the case, if these women have friends outside of their social circles that they could go and hang out with on another night, because it's a bit hard to like double book, especially if you've got kids.
Yeah. Like that.
If the guys are doing this on Fridays, hey, girls, go out on a Saturday night. Let your husband take care of the kids on Saturday night, and you guys can go out into your own social circles. But it seems like they feel like they need to be friends with each other and spend time with each other on those nights because their husbands are.
No, well, they said that they tested it out and it didn't really work. It has been raised before then. But the OP couple that we're specifically talking about here is the only couple without kids.
Yeah.
So I feel like we just do not have enough context to talk about that one way or the other, because again, like we don't know how the distribution of labor is happening at home when it's not a Friday night.
But what I mean is, yes, they did say that they tried hanging out and they worked out that doesn't work for them. Why can't on another night, since everyone outside of the OP and her husband have kids, go out with your friends from outside of this social circle?
That's what I'm saying. For all we know, they are. If they're not, it's specifically because, husband's schedule comes first and it doesn't allow for them to have a break. We don't have that context.
They are going out on another night with their out-of-the-circle friends.
That makes them bigger assholes.
It does, and they can go fuck themselves. And if they aren't, because they don't have a social circle outside of this social circle, go get some fucking friends.
Join a social POP and fucking vibe at home and make cookies.
Yeah.
Edit. Some info to clear up some assumptions I'm seeing in the comments. All the wives work. I do not know if the mums get nights to themselves like the guys do. I do not know the details of their family dynamics. I do know all the wives have tried to have girls' nights amongst ourselves, and it didn't work out because we have nothing in common. I'm pretty sure all the wives have other friends, but I do not know when/how often they do things outside the home. I send cookies and treats because I make them for my blog, not just because I'm making them for the guys. I did not respond to the original messages in the group chat. I found out that the wives confronted the guys via my husband. Edit 2. Wow, I logged back in this morning and was completely overwhelmed. This got way more attention than I was expecting. I showed this to my husband over breakfast this morning. His initial response was, so does this mean you're Reddit famous? But we agreed to read through the comments together tonight and try to come up with a solution to help ease some tension in his friend group. Thank you all for your input and apologies. I have had a busy day at work, but like I said, I was completely overwhelmed by the response. The verdict was not the arsehole.
No, 100% not the arsehole.
Relevant comments.
I do feel like saying this is a story about a band is a bit of a stretch, though.
So far, this is the best of Redditor updates, my dude. We've only hit the first post.
Ben is banging all of the wives, except for OP, hopefully.
Relevant comments. Not the arsehole. However, that other husband should do it every 2 weeks or monthly if they have a baby and no help. I mean, it's mostly an issue in the relationship of the girl complaining and her husband, not your issue at all. I don't think they should have to stop having every week. Ben loves to host and Will likes kicking off his weekend that way. He works a physically demanding job and only really sees his friends this 1 day a week. The guys are free to skip a week or whatever. It's nothing formal. They literally sit outside in lawn chairs and drink beer.
Sounds like a fucking excellent night apart from
Sounds like King of the Hill. If King of the Hill were in Australia.
Well, to be fair, did we know that they're Australian? Because what we're describing is literally just King of the Hill.
Another comment, out of curiosity, do the other married guys all have kids? I can see how you enjoy your Friday evening of peace and quiet or time to hang out with your friends, but I'm guessing all of the other wives are pissed that they're at home parenting alone every Friday night while their husbands get to keep up their social life. OP, 3 of the guys don't have kids, including my husband and Ben, the single guy. 4 of the guys have kids. Alex and Fran have the youngest, age 1, and the other kids are between the ages of 3 and 5. None of the wives have ever complained about guys' night up until they resumed after COVID restrictions lifted. I guess they got used to having them home on Fridays for a few months.
I'm standing by everything I've said so far.
This is another commenter. Since your husband is happy, you should be happy, and vice versa, should the opportunity arise. You might explain your reasoning to the other wives just once and then let it go, meaning just tell them and do not open the door for arguments or rebuttals. OP. I met my husband a while after they met theirs. A few of them had moved in together before I met him. It was just Will, Ben, and Alex still living in the original share house. I've always been the most laid back out of the women, even before they started having kids. Spur of the moment house party? Sure, I'll run to the liquor store and make cupcakes. Want to have guys over to watch the fight on pay-per-view? Whatever, I'll go out with my friends. Last minute camping trip and a long weekend? I'm down, let's go floating while we're at it. I think that's when they started sort of resenting me because I honestly do not care and I'm down for anything. And I get that kids bring more responsibility and a set schedule, which is why Will and I don't want any. I'm not going to put my foot down just because they don't feel the same way I do. Which is fair.
Very. Part of me hopes that Ben still lives in the original share house. Like everyone
I think
else.
he does.
That's great if it's the case. Because everyone else has moved out and Ben's just living in this.
But it's still like coming home to Dad's house.
Yeah.
The update is November 9, 2020.
Okay, when was the original post? Because you did not say that.
Yes, I did. It was October 19.
Okay, so 21 days later.
Yes, on our 1-year anniversary. A lot has happened in the last 3 weeks, but I'm going to try and condense it for the character limit. After reading all the replies together, Will and I decided it would be best for him to confront his friends, particularly Alex. He told them it wasn't cool to try and throw me under the bus with their wives, and that their wives, especially the ones with kids, need and deserve time to themselves too. According to the guys, all the wives are getting time to themselves without the kids each week, with Alex's wife, Fran, getting the most time out of anyone. She works until 4 but doesn't pick up their baby until 7 every day. She has a workout class 3 times a week and a standing girls' night every Wednesday where she doesn't come home until 10-11 p.m. Alex picks up the baby on Wednesdays. Will and I held a brief, socially distanced get-together in our yard to clear the air. I confirmed what the guys had said about the wives getting time, and the wives admitted that they do. Whether it's manicures, gym time, book club, etc. That's when I found out about Fran's social schedule. And they confirmed that all the guys were attentive and involved dads. Will later told me that he was sure his friends weren't complete shitbags, but was glad to have the reassurance. Then it erupted into a fight between Alex and Fran, with Alex saying he only gets 1 hour a week to himself since he gets off at 7 and is home by 8 p.m. Fran broke down and started screaming that it wasn't the time spent with his friends, but his comments the following days. She then turned on me, literally pointed and screamed that it was my fault that during the lockdown, for the first time in over 5 years, she didn't have to listen to Alex talk about me all fucking weekend. I was shell-shocked and didn't know what to say, but Will jumped in and told us she could not talk to me like that and she should probably leave before she said something she couldn't take back. Fran left and Alex stayed. Afterwards, the other wives admitted they only agreed the ultimatum after Fran relentlessly persuaded and pushed them into it. I'd never seen this side of Fran before, so I had no idea she could be like this. Alex has been sleeping at Ben's house for almost 2 weeks now. He's still picking up, spending time with the baby, but he doesn't sleep at his house. He says they're going to try therapy, and if that doesn't work, they'll probably separate. As much as I dislike the guy, I feel bad for him. Guys' night has resumed. I still send cookies, but Will says he doesn't bring me up and shuts the guys down if they try to talk about me.
That's the only problem I have with this. If the guys want to talk about your girl, let them talk about your girl. They should all have the understanding of don't talk about somebody else, how great somebody else's wife is constantly, because that's a big way to build resentment if you know your wife is like that.
Added info from OP. Just clarifying a few things. Fran never breastfed. I distinctly remember her making a big deal out of saying she would never do it while she was still pregnant. The baby is completely formula fed. Fran doesn't cook. Alex works in the restaurant industry and does the cooking or brings home food from the restaurant most days. I asked Will to specifically ask Alex about household chores, and they have a cleaning lady that comes 2 times a week. OP on if Alex has a crush on her. Honestly, I've never picked up a vibe that Alex has a crush on me. In fact, I've never really gotten the sense that he even likes me that much at all. When I met Will, I was still in college and he would constantly make cracks about Will robbing the cradle or make fun of me for trying to get a good pic of the two of us for Insta when we'd be out as a group. Since he was one of Will's best friends, I tolerated him as best as I could. Later, we find out we have similar tastes in movies, music, and books. Generally, we'll be civil when we're talking about that stuff, so that's really all we talk about when we have to be around each other. Since he's in the restaurant industry, he's interested in my baking blog. I still don't really like the guy, but we can hold a conversation when we need to. Occasionally, we'll text each other book recommendations or to look up an artist's new album, but that's it. OP on Alex's work schedule. According to my husband, on the days Alex has to open the restaurant, he goes in at 9 a.m., drops the baby off with grandma. On the days he has to supervise food prep or do inventory, he goes in at 6 a.m. and Fran takes baby to grandma. So 3 days a week at 9, 3 days a week at 6. Alex gets Saturdays off but works Sundays. Fran gets Saturdays and Sundays off work, but grandma has baby Monday to Friday and on Sunday. I started asking Will detailed questions about them after my original post because I didn't have answers to a lot of questions that were being asked. That's how I found out about the bi-weekly house cleaner, the work schedules, etc. I wanted as much info before I made my update post.
So on top of all the other social things that this woman's got, and now we do know that this isn't actually about the time, but I just need to point out, on top of the weekly girls' night that she gets, on top of say she finishes at 4 or 5 every day.
4.
So 3 hours per day. So that's 15 hours plus a fuckload of time on Wednesdays. She's also not working on Sunday and still not having the kid. So she's getting basically 2 full extra days of her time without Alex.
And he's getting 1 hour. As someone in hospitality, the mental illness rates, the addiction rates, the suicidality rates that are rampant in hospitality, just from the sheer sleep deprivation alone, that 1 hour may be what's keeping him fucking ticking, you know?
You're drinking enough. Most hospitality workers have been doing it for a decent amount of time, especially ones that are working for as long every day that this guy is.
Yeah, because he's obviously very high up. Yeah. Which pretty much means
he's probably a suit.
He's working all the time.
You're drinking so much caffeine that you've got the caffeine addiction and you're going to end up with heart problems. Most people that are going through that can't get down at the end of the day. So that's the reason for the alcoholism, because you need something to bring yourself back down to a point where you can sleep. Unless you're ADHD, because then caffeine naps are amazing. You need something that can bring you down from the heightened heart rate of the copious caffeine. Otherwise, you ain't sleeping. If all this guy is doing is having some beers with his mates on a Friday, that's the best possible situation. Hey, he's not banging somebody else's wife. He's not banging somebody else at all. He's not trying to...
He doesn't have the time.
He's not snorting coke that we know of. He's trying to do everything he can to try and help, and Fran can go fuck herself.
I cannot imagine having that much time to myself and complaining about someone else's wife. Like, with all that time to yourself, Fran, why the fuck don't you do the shit that she does? You clearly have the capacity for it. Learn to bake a fucking cookie.
Just done the mental math. Minimum 27 hours more than he gets. Sorry, 26 hours more than he gets of time to herself a week. Because he's getting 3 hours a day plus an extra 4 hours on Wednesdays. That's just Monday to Friday. Sunday. I'm putting it the nicer way that Sunday's one of his 9 o'clock days. That's 9 till 7. That's another 10 hours. That's 27 hours. Minus his 1.
Shit.
You're getting more than a full fucking day. And I don't mean a work day. I mean a 24-hour day of downtime without kid, without husband. What the fuck are you doing?
And the rest of the time, he's literally pulling a significant amount of the weight in managing having a kid, like prepping everything that they've got to use to ferry them to different places.
And he's also, when he is home, doing all the cooking. When he's not home to do the cooking, making sure that she's still got food in the house. That's not just even like microwave meals. He's bringing home food from the restaurant so that she could eat it more than likely the next day, because if you're finishing at 7, you're probably not going to be eating that for dinner by the time he gets home.
Yeah, maybe some people eat that late.
Yeah.
I used to finish at 7, and that meant coming home and eating at like 7:30, 7:45.
But also, like, if you're coming home from hospital, you're not bringing home a meal. You're bringing home like 3. Because any meal that gets sent back, or you pack up a couple of stuffies. So he's taking care of his wife. The most she's having to do for her household is feed the child in the windows that he's actually at home with her. And she has to make her own breakfast, I assume. I can't even guarantee that much. And dropping off to grandma's house 3 days a week.
Yeah. No, I got to say that I like that we ended on this story where the Ben house is such a positive experience for these men, because honestly, if we're looking at like the male loneliness epidemic bullshit, that's how you fix it. The men who are involved in all of that get sucked into like your manosphere stuff, that feel like women owe them something, that have zero intimacy in any of their relationships, those relationships with other men that look like that is exactly what you're missing.
Parts, a couple of different parts, because it's parts you have to be a little bit gay with your friends. And I mean that not in a literal sense, but also from an outside person's perspective. Most male friend groups, people think that there's at least something going on.
If anyone doesn't think you're fucking your friend, they're not your best friend.
We went and saw Jimmy Carr like a month and a half ago, something like that. And part of his set was talking about exactly this. He made two dude bro looking guys turn to each other and say, "I love you, man." And then from the stage, he was just gay.
It wasn't dude bro looking men. It was old school, like bikey looking dudes. Like they were a lot older. They'd been friends for like 30 fucking years.
To be fair, I've been friends with Matt for the better part of 30 fucking years. But the point is, people need to tell their mates they love them. Guys, girls, everyone. And as long as it's not fucking Melissa. But that doesn't mean that everything in the situation needs to be taken seriously. A little while ago, me and one of my friends were having a bit of a bad situation that we're having a chat about. At one point in the conversation, I even gave him shit about it being a bit gay. Because I'm like, what am I, your fucking girlfriend? Because sometimes, even when you're in a serious situation, you need to break that tension.
And to be fair, Ben had been pettily ignoring him. Yeah. So he was very much acting like that stereotypical like college girlfriend, like nothing's wrong, it's fine.
No, I hadn't.
You straight up gave him the silent treatment for like 3 fucking days.
Neither of us spoke to each other for 3 fucking days. The last message that was sent, I responded to, and then we just didn't speak for 3 days. But also, we regularly don't speak for a week. Getting back to what I was trying to say, there is nothing wrong at all with you coming to your friends and telling them that you love them. You just also need to be willing to get the response of gay, and there's nothing wrong with either side of that situation.
That means you're doing it right.
And if you manage to grab their ass while you're in there, it just shows how much you love them.
Hey, if it's good for the NRL.
You just enjoy that stress ball.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us on this very extended episode for Ben's birthday. Happy birthday, baby. I love you.
Woo! Birthday.
Thanks for joining us in the Naughty Corner. We'll see you next time.
I'm getting ice cream.